This is truly a state of emergency.
It crushed everything around me except me.
It's in my closet. There's a big round tree in my closet.
This is a major event that has caused tremendous emergency.
Hundreds of thousands of people without power tonight after a summer storm caused millions of dollars in damage. Good evening, I'm Donna Davis. We have live storm team coverage from the entire crew here at Action News 5. Our sports department is even pitching in tonight during this state of emergency. But we start this evening with Action News 5's Daryl Phillips live downtown.
Good evening, Donna. We've set up our cameras just east of the FedEx Forum construction site tonight. What you cannot see in the dark is what worries so many people. It is a crane so badly bent and warped that it threatens to fall. It's enough that city leaders have shut down a fairly sizable perimeter around the future arena site, evacuated it, remain keeping people off it. This is one of the reasons that Memphis Mayor Willie Harrington declared a state of emergency today. And as we've now learned, early damage assessments seem to indicate that there are many other reasons.
This is one of the worst storms that I've seen since I've been in Memphis.
It was certainly the worst in recent years. Latest estimates showed it left more people without power than the ice storms of '94. 2 people died, including a 2-month-old girl whose apartment caught fire. The Shelby County Emergency Management Agency reports at least 138 homes suffered major damage. 236 homes reported minor damage. 9 businesses suffered major damage and 24 businesses reported minor damage. And these are just early numbers. The EMA says it will take 2 to 3 days before total tree damage is known. The airport, where we found long lines of people and a short supply of power, is still on generator. It will be days before power is restored to the whole area.
It may be even a week.
Meanwhile, cleanup in both the city and county began right away.
We had almost 50 major streets, roads that were somewhat blocked, partially or totally.
2 shelters were set up to handle some homeowners who couldn't go home. Backup plans were put into play.
The pyramid and the Coliseum are being targeted to try to get the power on there as quickly as possible so that we can also have people seek shelter at the pyramid and the Coliseum, as well as the other special needs centers throughout the community.
But some who suffered damage are already looking for answers. EMA Director Clint Buchanan says he took complaints all morning that tornado sirens never went off, that there was no warning.
For a straight line wind, we're not set up. We can turn them on, but we didn't know that gust of wind was coming through.
And once it came, there was no escaping it. Tonight, early assessments show the damage at more than $6 million, but everyone expects that number to grow with increased reporting in the coming days. Reporting live downtown, Daryl Phillips, Action News 5.
Thank you, Daryl. Downtown Memphis was definitely one of the hardest hit areas. Just take a look at the damage to the Gibson Guitar Factory. Portions of the building are in ruins tonight. Glass windows were blown out and awnings torn down. And since 6, Congressman Harold Ford Jr. came to Memphis to talk about federal aid. Action News 5's Jarvis Greer, our sports director but a longtime Memphian, spoke with the congressman just a few hours ago. Jarvis.
Well, Donna, the severity and entirety of the damage done by Summer Storm 2003, including the massive, and I mean massive area that it covers, is the worst I've ever seen here in my hometown, let alone the 24 years I've been here at TV5. Congressman Ford was in Washington, D.C. when he got the call from his family here in Memphis that the huge storm had hit town. He spent the day trying to get to the city, eventually arriving by charter because all flights into and out of Memphis had been shut down. Ford met with city and county emergency personnel tonight and will take a formal tour of damaged areas tomorrow. He says he's here to see if Memphis qualifies for federal disaster relief funds.
We're working now to determine whether or not we cross that threshold. Once the governor determines that, then the federal government begins to play a role. The president is formally asked by the governor, as protocol would call, for monies to be released or for assistance to be unleashed. I want to do everything I can to ensure the dots are connected along the way.
Congressman Ford says he's learned 2 massive generators used in the Jackson, Tennessee tornado last May will be brought to the Memphis airport to help get it back online. By the way, he says the power is also out at his downtown home here, and he, like everyone else, wants it back on as soon as possible. And just looking out here in Midtown on Union Avenue, it is very dark, save for the few lights of cars passing by, and we want to let everybody here in Memphis know tonight, behave. Reporting live in Memphis, Jarvis Greer, Action News 5.
All right, thank you, Jarvis. Well, when the storm rolled through early this morning, many people were still asleep in their beds. That was the case in the 1700 block of Holman, where a tree crashed down, killing 74-year-old John Price. You can see where the tree smashed through the front half of the house and pinned the man down on the mattress where he was sleeping. 6 others were able to escape from the home. And as we mentioned, a Mid-South infant died this morning after fire broke out inside her family's apartment. The family was outside watching the storms move in. There's no word on what started the blaze at the Court Apartments, but apparently a neighbor saw the fire, kicked down the door, and found the baby dead inside. The baby's grandmother also suffered burns in that fire. Damage from the storms is strewn across several Mid-South counties, and even as the sun came out this afternoon, the cleanup began. Action News 5's Joyce Peterson has more on that. Hi, Joyce.
Donna, good evening. We're out front of Ike's along Union Avenue, where this morning storms blew out all of the windows on the front of the store. This afternoon they put boards up top to bottom all the way across the storefront. Ike's, like so many other businesses and residences in Midtown, downtown East Memphis, is still without power tonight. In fact, Lamar, go ahead and turn our live shot light off. Without that light, all you can see in the background are the hazards from my car. No street lights, no traffic lights, no neon signs from businesses. Like Jarvis said a few minutes ago, it is spooky. Okay, Lamar, let's go ahead and turn the light back on. MLG&W tells us that more than 300,000 people, 70% of their customers, are still without power tonight, and it could be as long as a week before everybody is turned back on. And I can only imagine the only thing worse than sitting in a dark, unair-conditioned home is losing your home. On Fenwick Road, near the University of Memphis, Jennifer Brooks and her husband Quentin are loading up and moving out.
Well, we're getting mostly everything out except for what's damaged, and we have insurance to cover for that.
The duplex the Brooks share with neighbor Kathy Johnson,
I'm just glad to be alive,
is now a tree house. Here's the inside damage. That's a sofa under the debris on the left. It's where Quentin Brooks was sleeping until right before the tree fell.
He just jumped up, ran to the hallway, and by this time his wife had grabbed the baby and ran to the bathroom, and the tree just crashed into the sofa where he was laying.
Now, with the sun setting, the Brooks and Kathy Johnson are on a mission to protect their valuables from looters.
We done took all the TVs out the house. We done took all the VCRs out the house. We took all the clothes and everything.
Everything that wasn't destroyed by a summer storm that had no mercy. Okay, I can tell you there is extra security outside Ike's, the nearby businesses tonight, to make sure looters don't mess with this business. What are the MPD and Shelby County Sheriff's deputies doing to keep you and yours safe tonight while you sit in the dark? The answer to that coming up right before Dave Brown's weather. Live in a very dark Midtown Memphis, I'm Joyce Peterson. Action News 5.
Construction of the new FedEx Forum is on hold tonight because of the summer storm. 3 cranes used to move building materials at the arena site were damaged by extreme winds. Action News 5's Daryl Phillips live downtown once again for us with more. Daryl.
Hello again, Donna. At least one of those cranes is so badly damaged that contractors fear it could collapse. And so tonight, an area around the site has been shut down, including much of historic Beale Street. Strong winds moved the now unstable crane on its foundation, causing it to lean. The crane is 500 feet tall, and the fear is that if it falls, it could take out buildings nearby. And because of that, an area from Danny Thomas to 3rd and Gayoso to Pontotoc was evacuated. Residents were told to leave and businesses were closed.
Our show has been canceled tonight due to the weather, but hopefully by this weekend we'll have everything set back up.
There is no word yet on when the evacuation order will be lifted. It could take days before engineers can decide what to do with the crane. Contractors say the FedEx Forum project was on schedule until this summer storm hit. Tonight, the M.A. Mortensen Company is working to determine what changes can be made so that the project can be completed on schedule. But again, work there has been suspended indefinitely until it is determined that the area is safe again. Reporting live downtown, Daryl Phillips, Action News 5.
Thank you, Daryl. A mother and daughter were just inches away from being injured when a tree came crashing down on their car this morning. This is what's left of Deborah Campbell's red car, the vehicle crushed under the weight of the tree. Crews were called in to cut away the limbs that were blocking Tresvant near Summer. Campbell says she's just glad no one was hurt.
I was just driving to work, and we were just sitting at the light, and the whole tree just fell on the car while we were sitting there at the light. And we just pulled the door out, and we just ran the Exxon as fast as we could.
Remarkable, Campbell says it is a miracle she and her daughter got out alive and unharmed. Well, trees and power lines are down all over the Mid-South. 2 people were killed in the storm. Action News 5's Tony McNary shows you how some people escaped injury, all caught on tape.
Talk about a close call. These people were driving in downtown Memphis on T.M. Henderson between 6th and 7th Streets when these power lines came crashing down. That was after the storm. During the storm,
I couldn't move.
why not?
It was scary.
Really?
And my mama told me when we were little to always be still when the Lord doing his work.
The strong wind snapped telephone poles, uprooted trees, left power lines in a mangled mess, and tore the roof off several homes in the area.
Well, the whole house just totally damaged.
But his grandmother made it out safely.
She was in a bedroom, and she finally made it to the living room, and I got her up outside where it was safe.
Around the corner from her house, more damage.
It's water all over the floor, and the roof is off. Well, you see the roof is off.
Gibson says this is the worst storm damage she has seen in the 30 years she's been in business. In Memphis, Tony McNary, Action News 5.
Straight-line winds hit downtown Memphis just before 7 this morning. This is what it looked like from our High 5 camera. It captured the destruction as power lines blew and the power went out in Memphis. Action News 5's Joyce Peterson has the latest on the power situation tonight. Joyce.
Donna, the power is still out in Memphis. At last check, MLGW was telling us, as I pick up some of the newspaper stands around here, was telling us that 306,000 customers, 70% of their customers are still without power. Downtown, midtown, out east. It's really bad, they say, worse than Ice Storm 94. So we're talking about homes with no air conditioning, people sitting in the dark, and I'm guessing there's some food in the fridges around Memphis that's getting pretty warm right now. As the sun went down, there were folks whose homes were damaged or destroyed. They had to go back and get what they could salvage and take it with them. They got busy getting their belongings out because the looters were going to come in. Now, PSTs are rerouting traffic around the city. MPD squad cars are patrolling some of the hardest hit areas, and Shelby County deputies have been extremely visible during this disaster inside city limits.
We bonded real well with that. I mean, I'm glad of that also. A unity factor actually kicked in, and it worked for the best.
You know, we hear talk of consolidation, but to hear that these two departments are working so closely together in this disaster is quite frankly reassuring to homeowners. As we come back outside here live, we are out front of Ike's in Midtown again along Union Avenue. No lights, 306,000 people. More than half the residents of Memphis, a third of the residents of Shelby County in the dark tonight. This was one heck of a summer storm. Reporting live in Midtown, I'm Joyce Peterson. Donna, back to you.
It has been an unbelievable day.
Very long, very trying day for many thousands of people.
All right. Thank you, Dave. Well, after the break, we'll take a look at other stories making news across the Mid-South and the world, including new information on a standoff between Memphis police and one of their own. Back in a moment. Let's check in once more with Dave.
After a wild day, things are going to calm down. Isolated thunder showers possible tonight, but then it's going to be cooler for a couple of days. That will help. Temperatures only in the 80s, and skies should be partly cloudy to mostly sunny from now through Saturday.
All right. Thank you, Dave. Well, if you have power and you're watching us and you know someone who doesn't, take them under your wing, help them out if you can. We'll be on bright and early at 4 o'clock in the morning for the very latest on the power situation and the weather. We'll see you then.
In Memphis, Tennessee, for thousands, this will be another night without power. It's been days since that city was hit by a monster storm, but since it didn't have a name and wasn't a tornado, it got very little attention.
I need 2 car washers!
This is Kerry Sanders in Memphis, where 10 days after a violent windstorm, portions of the city are still strewn with debris. Agnes White warms coffee on a makeshift grill, waiting yet one more day for electricity.
I'm 83, and this is the worst thing I've ever gone through.
Winds in excess of 100 miles per hour knocked out power to 70% of this city. Today, 59,000 residents are still without electricity.
I just hope the rest of the country realizes what's happened here, because this is like a Category 2 hurricane striking the city.
In Memphis, there's a sense few outside this area know of the misery here. The storm hit the same day Saddam's sons Uday and Qusay were killed.
Many of the agencies that normally come in to help a community to deal with this storm, we didn't get that. I mean, we've been overlooked.
Unlike a tornado, the early morning winds blew in a straight line, so the usual tornado sirens didn't sound. 20 miles wide, the storm originated in Arkansas, picked up speed when it crossed the Mississippi, and hit downtown Memphis.
It hit the heat island of the city. It was very hot, very humid. That meant the air was rushing up even stronger. That meant it was coming down. The cold air was coming down even faster, and it increased the wind speed.
Power is returning slowly.
Oh my God!
It will be another week before everyone can celebrate. And for Agnes White, some good news today.
We heard you need some lunch.
The Red Cross providing her first warm meal in more than a week. Kerry Sanders, NBC News, Memphis.
Memphis is the largest city in Shelby County, and we're joined tonight by the county's mayor, A.C. Wharton Jr. Mayor, good to see you. Thank you for being with us.
Hello.
What's the situation tonight?
Fairly dismal, but we're recovering. Feeling a bit lonely because it seems that from a national perspective it never happened.
You're frustrated. Tell us why.
Well, we suffered what I would call basically a dryland hurricane. We actually had one, yet we see on the national news over in Galveston they got more coverage on a hurricane that never did occur. We've suffered much more loss here, both in terms of human life, property damage. The deprivation is just unbelievable. 95-degree actual temperature, 105-degree heat index, no air conditioning, no relief in sight. People are just totally decimated.
If there had been more national coverage, what would that have meant for your city?
Well, at least people would not have felt as lonely. The greatest loss that I detect now as we walk the streets is not so much the physical loss, but people actually feel deserted, and that's the hardest kind of loss to replace. People actually feel that nobody cares. We're not getting emails from our relatives in Chicago and LA saying, gee, I heard about you guys down there. So there are many people who've been totally without communication. Stop to think. People have not had telephone service, TV, radio, absolutely no means of communicating in this day of advanced communication.
So what do you need, what do you want, and how can the rest of the country help?
Well, fortunately, we did receive the presidential declaration today, so there will be some relief. And I would say that the greatest thing we need here is for folks just to let folks know that we have not been abandoned. We have utility crews in from throughout the southeast, but simply a feeling that we've now seen addressed by the presidential declaration. But just plain old, we care about you. You are a part of America. You are a part of the USA. And we're going to find out what's happening with you and help in any way that we can.
How are people coping without the electricity in this kind of heat?
Well, we're actually removing some individuals from those homes where they do not have electricity and moving them, particularly the ill and the frail. Many of them are actually simply sitting outside. As simple as that may seem, they're sitting out fanning with a newspaper and whatever. They are afraid to leave their homes because unfortunately we've seen a rise in burglaries in some areas of the city. So they're simply sitting there tolerating it as best they can. We are a hardy lot here. We're going to make it. It's going to be difficult, but we're making it quite well.
Mayor, thank you for telling your story tonight and good luck.
Thank you.